Hey guys, Michael here. I hope that you're all doing great today. So, the last 48 hours have been quite interesting when it comes to the Warhammer 3 Total War state of the game, the state of the community, the state of the creator content scene, and all of that. And I want to share my thoughts when it comes to sort of what's been happening and maybe even give a little bit of my advice. And there's really a couple of things that I want to try to balance in this video, but let me just start out with pointing out that a couple of days ago I released a video that's playing here in the background here, which is the Is Warhammer 3 Still Worth Playing video. And as always, I very much appreciate the comments that you all left on this particular video. I really appreciate the discussion that goes on when I make sort of these rambling philosophical type videos, but that's neither here nor there. But anyway, I just, again, want to encourage everybody to keep sharing your thoughts on this one and in future videos as well, of course, because I think we all have our own perspectives that are kind of all worth considering and kind of, we don't all agree on everything, and that's a good thing. I think, getting a wide range of opinions is always really helpful when it comes to controversial topics, and this is kind of a controversial topic. So I started out with this Warhammer 3 Still Worth Playing video, and I shared my own thoughts, which were basically, I think the game still is. I still think that there is a lot of fun to be had here, but I can understand why other people would make a different decision. I hate the fact that the state of the game right now is such that we have to even ask this question, but it is what it is. And I guess just to kind of really quickly reiterate what I was saying in that video, there's not yet been a perfect game ever made, right? So there's no perfect games. However, having said that, I also don't want to give CA or any other game developer a pass and say, well, they shouldn't try to make their game as good as possible because because there's been no perfect games ever made. No, I don't think that's the case, and I voiced my concerns in this video about how I'm not crazy about their support policy, about how they keep seeming to focus on DLC and neglecting some of the fundamentally what I consider to be unacceptable problems in the base game. And yet at the same time, having said all that, I do think it's very easy to get caught up in the relatively small number of things that are broken with the game and kind of lose sight of all of the really good things that are in the game. And that's how I feel. That's how I approach this game, is that I still have a lot of fun when I play it. There are certain things that we can do to minimize the frustrations. Unfortunately, the most recent problem with the AI is just one that's a little bit harder to overlook. But anyway, I don't want to go through everything that's in that entire video all over again, but I just wanted to reiterate my own personal perspective is I'm going to continue playing this game. Of course, after dropping this video within a matter of a couple of hours, of course, Legend dropped his very important announcement that he was counting down to the end of the year when he would be leaving the Total War YouTube scene. I don't have a whole lot to say about that. I have a ton of respect for Legend. I've mentioned that before. My own interactions with him as a YouTuber have been somewhat limited, but he's always been very professional when I have interacted with him. And obviously, I've had a lot of respect for him throughout the years. He's obviously the legend of the game. I am going to take him at his word when he says that his decision is what's best for him. And I think that's all we should ever expect from anybody. His rationale seems quite reasonable to me. I also very much, as a content creator myself, I'm aware that I am in sort of a, how can we say, I'm not exactly unbiased when it comes to the Warhammer 3 scene. I am aware of the fact that I really would like for this game to succeed, and so I don't love all the controversy that happens. In no way am I blaming Legend at all for creating any controversy. Just want to make that perfectly clear. And I want to actually, these are the first two things I want to balance. I just want to say, I'm aware that as a person who does make a little bit of money off of Warhammer 3. I'm obviously biased in terms of wanting the game to remain popular. I actually really appreciate the fact that Legend took the time to say that he shared his honest feelings, that he got a lot more satisfaction out of becoming King of the Hill than he's had at trying to maintain that position. And he acknowledged that, maybe there are some other YouTubers who can kind of step in to fill the void when he leaves. Obviously he mentioned he's the big fish in a small pond. I'm a small fish in a small pond. So he's not talking about me there, except insofar that I do make videos that are largely having to do with Warhammer 3. And so I just wanted to, as a member of that community, I want to acknowledge the fact that he is he's acknowledging the rest of us. And I think that was sort of his way of wishing us well. And so I certainly want to wish him well as well. I think he's an excellent YouTuber, and if he decides to, cover different games, I wish him well in that. If he decides to do something else with his life, I wish him well in that as well. So that's really all I have to say about Legend's own take. But from a timing perspective, it was obviously very interesting because it came right on the heels of my making this video, Is Warhammer 3 Still Worth Playing? So the fact that I think we can safely say that Warhammer 3 is in sort of its lowest point since it was after the DLC a couple of DLCs ago, or I should say 3 DLCs ago, the Tzeentch DLC, I guess that was Shadows of Change. It was not a very good one. It was not very well received. CA made some blunders in terms of their interaction with the community, and they deserved to, I think, to get some bad publicity. However, that's going to lead to the next thing that I want to balance. And just one last thing I want to say about as a content creator for myself. Like I said, I do intend to continue playing this game for now. As long as I'm still having fun with it, I'm going to keep playing it. And probably as long as I keep playing it, I'll probably keep making videos about it. I don't know what the future is going to hold in terms of the audience. I really like the fact that we've built a small little community here on this channel. And like I said before, I really appreciate hearing the feedback from people about what they like and don't like and what their thoughts are about the game, because they don't always align with mine. But anyway, this community's always been very supportive of me. Having said that, I'm going to keep playing games, even if, for some reason Warhammer 3 disappeared from the face of the earth tomorrow. I'm going to keep playing games, and probably as long as I keep playing games, I'm going to probably keep recording them. And yeah, I mean, for me, it's kind of like when the real world sucks, which unfortunately happens often enough, I kind of like to escape into games, and making videos out of escaping into games is something that enough of you have said that you appreciate as well. Kind of getting lost and immersing yourself in the games is popular enough that, like I said, I'm going to keep making videos. I don't make enough money out of Warhammer 3 videos that my life will be all that much impacted if this game does go away. I hope it doesn't, because like I said, I think that there's a lot of fun to be had here. But whenever we kind of reach a controversy, reach a point like we have reached right now, kind of like after the Shadows of Change DLC, you do, kind of start to wonder, is the game on its last legs? Is it going to go away? Or if it doesn't, how much longer exactly is it going to last? So these are all important things to think about. But like I said, from my own perspective, I just want to balance in my own mind and make it very clear to all of you, because I believe in, in being honest with those of you who watch these videos. Where I'm coming from, I do make a little bit of money off of Warhammer 3 videos, and I am sort of, for that reason, motivated to want this game to succeed. But at the same time, just to make it very clear, my channel is obviously a tiny fraction, so 1/100th of Legends channel size. I don't make enough money to really worry all that much about if this game goes away. It's not that big of a monetary impact for me. All right, having made that clear, the second thing that I want to balance then I want to make very clear, every person who has bought this game has every right to voice their concerns. And I've voiced my concerns through the last almost 2 years since I've started making videos on Warhammer 3. I think it's perfectly reasonable to voice your concerns. At the same time, I think we should all be aware of how our voicing concerns is going to be reacted to. And there's always the warning of be careful what you wish for. So I do think that we saw really good benefits out of making our voices heard after the Shadows of Change DLC. I think CA did turn around and follow that one up with the Thrones of Decay DLC, which was the best one the game has ever had. They listened to what people were complaining about, and they improved both their own processes, internal processes, to come out with a better DLC, but also they improved their communication with respect to the community. And so that's a very positive outcome out of that type of behavior by the community. Having said that, that's not always going to be the case. And so we should keep in the back of our mind when we are making our voices heard that the result could be something different, even all the way to as extreme as the developers in this case, or the publishers, in this case Creative Assembly, might decide, okay, this is no longer worth the drama, or we're not making enough money to devote the resources or whatever, and pull the plug on a game. And in fact, we have seen Creative Assembly do that with some of their other titles. And so that is always something that needs to be in the back of our minds. Do I think that means that we need to be very reasoned, or at least not go ahead and voice our full concerns? No, I don't think that. I think we should voice our full concerns, but I also think that we need to be logical about and maybe take a step back from being completely emotional when we voice our concerns, because sometimes we can kind of get carried away in terms of how we communicate these things. I think this tends to be an issue not just in the gaming community, but throughout society at this point. I think people tend to behave very emotionally and kind of overreact, and aren't aware always that what they're saying is disrespectful, inconsiderate, and sometimes has unforeseen consequences. So that's the second factor that I just want to kind of throw that out there so that the community thinks about it. As this community does evolve going forward, I certainly expect there to continue to be criticism of Creative Assembly and how they have approached this game. And all I would say is that as people do voice that criticism, just do so in a way that is respectful, and maybe be thinking about what are you hoping the outcome is. If you're hoping that the outcome is that Creative Assembly stops supporting this game completely, then obviously you can be as as guns blazing as you want to in your commentary. But if you want to send the message to Creative Assembly that we're not happy with the state of the game, but we would like for the game to be improved, and we will continue to support the game if Creative Assembly does show that they're willing to address these concerns in a reasonable way, then I would encourage you to maybe make that clear in the way that you voice your concerns. So, apologize if this video has been a little bit incoherent and a little bit rambling. I wanted to kind of speak from the heart here and basically just share my own thoughts, which is, and it doesn't just come to, voicing concerns about a game. I think this is true in all aspects of our lives, in other industries, in politics, and in every way that we interact with people. It's always important to communicate, and when you have concerns, I think you should not repress those concerns, but at the same time, you should be also thinking about, well, what are the implications of my voicing these concerns, and maybe shape how you express those concerns based on what you would like those implications to be, what you would like for the consequences to be, what you would like the follow-up behaviors to be. Hopefully that makes sense. I'll go ahead and leave it at that. Again, as always, appreciate any concerns that you guys leave on this video, and I'm knocking on wood, that the game survives this next sort of controversy that it's going through. But, you know, I think that life will go on regardless of what happens. And I look forward to continuing to play the game myself, but I understand that we all have our own threshold of frustration. And if I get to the point where I'm too frustrated playing this game, or if CA makes that decision for me and they stop supporting the game completely, then you know, there are other games that are out there. And as always, I will be evaluating games based on, am I having fun in them or not? So, all right, I'll leave it at that. Thanks again, everybody, so much for watching and listening, and I will see you all in the next video.